Welcome to Quantum Finance. My name is Parker. I'm the head trader here, but I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. So in today's video, we'll take a look at the economic data, then we'll go over some news, and then we'll do our market recap and market analysis. So yesterday was Memorial Day. We did have the stock market closed, and I hope everybody did have a fun Memorial Day weekend. So today, Tuesday, May 30th, we did get consumer confidence come in at 102.3 with 99 expected. Tomorrow, Wednesday, May 31st, we do get JOLTS job openings for April. Now we can turn to some news. So we did have NVIDIA joining Apple, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon in the 1 trillion market cap club. And 10 years ago, NVIDIA had a market cap of just $8 billion. And here we have U.S. home prices rising 0.7% over the last year, which is the lowest year-over-year growth rate since 2012. And we also have bank deposits continuing to contract here at unprecedented rate. As you can see, the all commercial bank deposits here just really steep declining here below that zero line. And here we have the ratio of 100, the NASDAQ 100 to the Russell 2000, now up here testing the peak of the dot-com bubbles levels up here. And this is the percent of S&P 500 stocks beating the index, as you can see down here at its worst level since 2000. And we also have U.S. credit card debt reaching $1 trillion today. And here we have the Google searches worldwide of artificial intelligence, Bitcoin, and metaverse. As you can see, the massive spike here in the artificial intelligence searches, which is helping a lot with NVIDIA's market cap just absolutely skyrocketing. So now we can do our market recap. Starting here in the debt market, we have the U.S. 10-year yield with a big red day here after topping out last week at that upper extreme. Pulling back here, looking for that midline and pulling back on top of this previous resistance level here. Kind of making its way back towards the midline on the weekly chart. Turning to the dollar, pretty volatile day in the dollar, as you can see, breaking last week's highs and getting a steep sell-off as well, just large wicks to each side, looking like it wants to make maybe a topping structure here. Still sitting up here in the middle of this upper range on the weekly chart. Pretty overextended here from this daily midline. Now we can look at the S&P 500. As you can see, we did have a big gap up this morning, gapping up above that upper extreme, but then we did get a lot of selling today. Really just closing right here at these previous open and closes from last week. Now we look at cryptocurrency. Bitcoin with a green day today, as you can see, getting pretty squeezed here after getting a nice push up here above that midline and bouncing off this midline here on the weekly chart. Looking pretty bullish here on Bitcoin. Now we can look at XRP. Really nice green day here in XRP. After getting that bull flag that we were talking about last week and squeezing to the upside here, making its way up here towards these highs from April 19th. As you can see on the weekly chart here, pulling down and bouncing off of these highs here from the end of January and pushing its way up here towards this upper extreme on the weekly chart. So a really nice price action here to start the week on XRP. Now we can look at commodities. Looking at oil here, as you can see, big red day here in oil, breaking down through that midline and actually piercing down through these lows here from May 15th. We're getting its way down towards this lower extreme. If you look here at the bands, as you can see, getting kind of tight here on the daily chart with the this monthly candle coming to a close really soon here. Looking at gold, we do have a decent green day here in gold. Looking like it's forming a bottoming structure here. I'm going to work its way back up here towards this midline. Turning to silver, we do have a slight green day here in silver. After bouncing off that monthly midline a couple days ago, still just kind of consolidating down here at the lower end of this daily range. Now we can do our market analysis. We'll start with the volume analysis here on the S&P 500. So as you can see, fairly low volume day compared to the what we got last week here, with majority selling, but there was a decent bit of buying as well. Now we can look at the 3-minute chart. So as you can see here, we did get that pretty big gap up this morning. Then we did get a pullback for a retest off Friday's highs before getting a nice bounce here for a retest of the open, for selling off here, breaking down through Friday's highs, coming up for another retest, getting rejected at Friday's highs before really selling off, and then recovering here at about 2 o'clock for a retest of that same level before pulling back a little bit into the close and closing it right here below VWAP. Now we can look at the 15-minute chart. So as you can see, that big gap up we did pull into these previous Friday's highs, which did line up with the highs from a couple weeks ago. As you can see, pulling back down into the level, consolidating there for a while before it turning into resistance, and then squeezing to the downside here, pulling into this lower extreme on the 15-minute, with that MACD bouncing off that 0 line and getting kind of squeezed here into the close, but closing right below that key level. Looking at the 2-hour chart here, as you can see, the same story basically, just with that big gap up, pulling into that level, finding it as resistance and closing right there below it. Pretty overextended to the upside here on momentum. Now we can look at the NASDAQ and the VIX. As you can see, the VIX kind of getting a trend reversal today in price and in momentum. As you can see, this downtrend we've been in, gapping down here at the open and then really breaking it into mid-morning and pulling back here into the close. But as you can see, the downtrend break here on momentum as well. Looking at the NASDAQ, as you can see, just still super overextended to the upside. Getting that huge gap up as well, pulling into Friday's highs and finding it as support and then just closing down here towards the lows. Same story here on the NASDAQ with momentum, pretty overextended to the upside here. Now we can talk about some trades. We can go to the 1-minute chart here, turn on our drawings. So off the open here, there was actually a decent rejection here at VWAP that you could have faded down because you did have the open, you did have this trend line, and you did have the 5-minute upper extreme as well. So there was a lot of resistance here at VWAP. You could have faded that down because we did have a downward momentum squeeze here. But if you didn't like that pattern, if you wanted to wait for more of a pattern to develop, as you can see, we did get this descending broadening wedge, which is a bullish reversal pattern here off of Friday's highs. And you see the breakout here for a retest of VWAP in the open. Could have been a nice opportunity to get long. You did not have a squeeze here, but this was a strong pattern here off of a significant support level. And then here, as you can see, we did have a large squeeze from about 10:40 to 11:15. There wasn't really the best pattern here. As you can see, this kind of large volatility here after coming down and breaking through Friday's highs, getting a large recovery and then a big sell-off. So this kind of price action really busted a lot of the patterns. So really, I just had this lower trend line here because it was looking pretty weak. We did have downward momentum on the 15-minute chart or the 5-minute chart, and a large squeeze here. So I was just kind of watching this lower trend level to see if we could break that. And as you can see, we did get a breakdown retest with our squeeze to the downside. So on this retest here or on this breakdown, could have been a nice opportunity, to take advantage of this weakness getting rejected off Friday's highs for a short down to the downside. As you can see, we did have another squeeze here, but this was kind of really a bullish pattern, and we were at resistance, so I didn't like this one. But we then did have kind of a bear flag forming here. As you can see, our drop and then our flag pattern here, and then you see the breakdown, the retest. So this could have been a nice opportunity for a short on this retest to come down and retest the lows. We also had another kind of bear pennant pattern here. As you can see, the drop and then our pennant shape here with our breakdown with a squeeze with downward momentum on the 5-minute. So this could have been a decent opportunity, for another retest of the lows. And then here we did have a bull flag squeeze to the upside, but the price action was really, bearish. So when you see bullish patterns here, as you can see, it did have a bullish breakout, but it was a fake out. As you can see, getting rejected back at these highs and then really selling off to make new lows. So you got to be careful with bullish patterns when it is the price action and everything is this bearish. But we did have, a bullish pattern here with this, kind of descending triangle pattern here. But we did have upward momentum on the 5-minute. So that's what made this one different. You had downward momentum on the 5-minute on this one, but you had upward momentum here. So, that made this bullish pattern a lot stronger than this one. That's why this one, worked out a lot better than this one did, because it gave the stock time to, get momentum back to the upside. And then here, as you can see, we did have a falling wedge pattern here, breakout with a upward momentum squeeze to the upside. Could have been a nice long opportunity for a playback up to VWAP. So yeah, pretty bearish day today. There was a decent, bullish pattern here in the morning, but for the most part, a lot of it was just bearish patterns today to take advantage of the weakness. Yeah, but fairly low volume day to start the week. You kind of expect that on holiday weeks. Volume does typically die down when there is a holiday or a shortened week. So definitely keep that in mind when trading the rest of the week. But yeah, that'll do it for the video. Appreciate y'all watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.